Alright, everyone. Pleasant evening to all of you. So, we are going to have multiplication of monomials as our subject of discussion for this session. And prior to this, we have already discussed about the laws or the rules of exponents, because those things will be needed the most on this topic, multiplication of monomials. So basically, what we are bringing here would be our rules of exponents. So let's get right on to the first example. Let's say we have 3ab squared multiplied to negative 5a cubed b to the fourth. Now the factors here are monomials. 3ab is a monomial, and negative 5a cubed b to the fourth is also a monomial. And as what I've said, we have simply have to recall our discussion on the rules of exponents. So first up, we identify our numerical coefficients and multiply them. And this is a positive 3 divide or multiplied to negative 5, which gives us negative 15. Then on to our variables. So you have a multiplied to a cubed, which will give you a to the fourth. Then you have b squared multiplied to b to the fourth will give you b to the sixth, which pretty much wraps up your first item here. So the final answer is negative 15a to the fourth b to the sixth. Moving on, let's have, for example, negative 4xy cubed multiplied to negative 3x squared y. And to spice things a little bit, let's have a third factor, 2/3 xy. So how do we do this? First, we cannot multiply all of them together, so we can first attack the two factors. So negative 4 and negative 3 will give us positive 12. Here you have x and x squared, that would give you x cubed. Then y cubed and y will give you y to the fourth. And we are not yet done from here. We still have to multiply that to 2/3 xy. So 12 multiplied to 2/3, we can cancel out the 3 and the 12 because this is simply 12 over 1. This becomes 4. So you're left with 4 times 2. You have 8. Then x cubed times x would be x to the fourth. And y to the fourth times y is y to the fifth, which gives us the final answer. So far, so good for the first two examples. Let's take it a little higher. Let's say, for example, let's have quantity 2m squared n quantity squared and multiply that to negative 3m cubed n. Now you noticed here that the first factor is already a power raised to another power. Now in this case, you have to be very careful. You cannot multiply this directly. What I mean is, you cannot multiply 2 to 3 right away. Not just yet. You still have to perform this power, simplify the power. So, if we're going to raise 2m squared n to 2, this will become 4m to the fourth n squared. Remember that the rule says that we have to distribute that to all the factors inside and copy the second factor and proceed to the multiplication process. So this will be 4 and negative 3 gives us negative 12. M to the 4th and m cubed makes it m to the 7th. And n squared times n is n cubed. That is your final answer. So basically, this example shows you that we still do follow what we call before in elementary or GEMDAS rule, wherein the grouping symbols and the exponents would still apply before you multiply. On to the last example. Let's have 1/2, let's make that negative, a squared squared multiplied to 3a squared, it's a square, sorry, okay, a squared b squared quantity cube. Well, basically it's just the same as the third example, but in this example we need to once again do the exponent before we can multiply the two factors. So here it's a fraction, and recall that the rule says if you're squaring or raising a fraction to a power, you have to raise both the numerator and the denominator. And since this is squared, the negative would be positive. So this is 1 over 4. 1 squared is 1, and 2 squared is 4. Then a squared becomes a to the 4th. Alright. Next up, we have to also raise 3a squared b squared to the 3rd power, which makes it 27. Now, common mistake here is you multiply the base and the exponent, which is wrong. 3 cubed means 3 times 3 times 3. Remember that. Next, a squared becomes a to the 6th, and b squared becomes b to the 6th. Then we proceed to multiplication. So 1/4 times 27 will become 27 over 4, which you cannot reduce to lowest term, therefore it's 27 over 4. A to the 4th times a to the 6th is a to the 10th. And since we don't have any factor to multiply with b to the 6th, simply copy b to the 6th. Final answer is 27 over 4, a to the 10th, b to the 6th. Now I hope that you would replay this video over and over again at least. Have your notes ready. And I'm asking you to answer as well the formative assessment that accompanies this video, because on Tuesday you are going to share with your group mates your answer or your answers on the formative assessment, including the group work that we are going to have. So I wish you well, good luck, and enjoy your holiday tomorrow.